Welcome everyone to this masterclass. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you are studying for your Cambridge Information Technology 9626 AS and A-level exams, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are taking on the role of the robot engineer. What does that mean? It means we are going to literally program your brain for maximum efficiency. We're going to build automated patterns for those incredibly common yet notoriously tricky question types that pop up year after year. We are cracking the code on one of the toughest topics in the entire syllabus. So, grab your notebooks, get hyper-focused, and let's jump right into the examiner's blueprint for mastering the command line interface.
Okay, so let's start with a massive question that we really just need to address head-on. Why is the Command Line Interface, or CLI, consistently ranked as the absolute most misunderstood IT topic? I mean, the sheer scale of the challenge here is fascinating. You see, most of us grew up with graphical user interfaces, right? Touchscreens, mice, visual icons. So when you suddenly have to operate a computer using nothing but a blinking cursor and text commands, it feels like learning a completely alien language blindfolded. Every single year, the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports flag this specific area, Topic 2.5, as a major stumbling block for candidates. We see students who are otherwise brilliant, students who completely ace their practicals and understand databases perfectly, and then they suddenly hit a massive brick wall when it comes to CLI. It's not because typing commands is inherently impossible, it's because the way Cambridge assesses it requires a completely different type of cognitive processing. You aren't just memorizing strings of text, you are being asked to think systematically. You need automated patterns for answering complex questions. And today, we are going to build those exact patterns in your mind.
I want you to literally listen to this quote, taken directly from the examiners themselves. Quote, 2.5 User Interfaces, Command Line Interface CLI, is one of the most misunderstood areas in information technology. End quote. Guys, this isn't just some casual, throwaway observation. This is a massive red flag waving frantically right at us from the marking team. The core issue here is that candidates consistently struggle to take raw theoretical CLI concepts and apply them to unfamiliar contexts under the intense pressure of exam conditions. It's one thing to know a textbook definition in isolation, right? It's entirely another to be presented with a complex, completely novel business scenario in your exam paper and be expected to analyze, evaluate, and write out a perfectly formatted CLI response. That bridge, the bridge between theory and unfamiliar application, is exactly where the marks are being lost, and it's exactly what we're going to fix.
So, here is our roadmap for cracking this topic today. We'll start with the CLI challenge, move into the core theoretical principles, then we'll outline the procedural framework, highlight the critical examiner warnings you need to dodge, and finally, we'll tackle mastering critical analysis.
Let's dive into Section 1, the CLI challenge. This is all about truly understanding the test in front of you. Right, let's talk about terminology. Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE, to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. Okay, back to the terminology trap. The principal examiner reports reveal that candidates consistently, and I mean constantly, confuse key terminology when writing about CLI. We are talking about mixing up the most basic jargon. For example, confusing a directory with a file path, or confusing a root command with a parameter or a switch. When you do this, the examiner immediately doubts your foundational understanding. It's like trying to explain how a car engine works but calling the steering wheel a tire. So the absolute crucial rule is this: always define your key terms before you start using them in your extended responses. If you're going to write a paragraph evaluating a CLI approach, define the specific elements you're discussing first. It proves to the examiner right out of the gate that you know exactly what you are talking about, anchoring your entire answer in solid, undeniable theoretical architecture.
Moving on to Section 2, Core Theoretical Principles. This is where we start building a deeply connected understanding of the system.
So, Cambridge targets 3 distinct cognitive domains for this topic, and you need to conquer all of them. First up is knowledge and understanding. This is your baseline, right? Just knowing what a CLI is and its basic functions. It's the what. Second is application. This is where the difficulty spikes. This is where you prove you can use that knowledge in a specific, perhaps completely unfamiliar context that the exam paper throws at you. It's the how. And third, we have analysis. This is the highest level, the top tier. This is where you are breaking down the CLI's systemic functions, comparing it to alternatives like a GUI, and justifying its use systematically. A lot of students get stuck in the knowledge domain. They just info dump raw facts onto the page without actually analyzing anything. You have to demonstrate mastery across all 3 of these domains if you want those top grades. Now, what separates a decent student from a truly top-performing student? Well, the syllabus heavily emphasizes that top-performing candidates exhibit connected, conceptual understanding that is transferable. The examiner reports literally highlight that candidates who reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. What does that mean for you? It means you shouldn't view CLI in a vacuum. It's not just an isolated topic. Connect your CLI principles to other syllabus areas. Talk about how CLI is used in networking or security protocols or operating system management. For instance, explaining why a network administrator would use CLI over a GUI for batch configuring security settings on 100 servers. When you show the examiner that you understand how the command line integrates with the broader IT infrastructure, your marks will absolutely soar.
All right, Section 3, the procedural framework. This is the core of our robot engineer strategy. This is the method mark strategy that will save you when the clock is ticking.
I want you to literally burn these 5 standardized steps into your memory. This is your automated pattern for processing any CLI question. Think of it like a piece of software executing a script. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. What exactly is the command word asking you to do? Is it asking you to describe, to evaluate, to analyze? Step 2. Extract the relevant data from the scenario. Comb through the text. What are the specific files, paths, or user constraints they've given you? Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Are you comparing two interfaces? Are you evaluating efficiency? Step 4. Execute with clear notation. This is where so many students fail. When you write out commands or analyze them, your notation and clear working must be absolutely flawless. Pay attention to syntax. And Step 5. Present with correct terminology. Remember our earlier rule. Use precise professional language. If you apply this exact 5-step sequence systematically, you are proving to the examiner that you have a structured, professional, and highly analytical approach.
Let's look at this visually. Compare a basic answer to our method mark strategy answer. A lot of students rush. They skim the question, miss the specific command word requirements, and jump straight to the final conclusion. Even if that final conclusion is factually correct, they lose massive points. Why? Because they haven't shown they're working. In contrast, an answer demonstrating the full 5-step process identifies the key elements, applies relevant principles, shows crystal clear working in the analysis, and uses proper formatting. In Cambridge exams, marks are heavily awarded for the process itself, the systematic reasoning, and the evidence-based approach. Never, ever just give the answer. You have to take the examiner by the hand and show them the exact logical path you took to get there.
Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Let's get right back into Section 4, Critical Examiner Warnings.
Pay very close attention here. These are the top 3 mistakes extracted directly from the principal examiner reports. Mistake number 1, students completely forget to include the proper format when writing out CLI elements. They miss slashes, they ignore case sensitivity, and they instantly lose easy marks. Mistake number 2, neglecting presentation checks. You do all the incredibly hard cognitive work, but you fail to verify your results or present them in the exact structure the question demanded. Did they ask for a table? Did they ask for bullet points? Give it to them. And mistake number 3, and honestly, this is the biggest one by a mile, providing generic answers that are not specific to the given context. Remember what we said about unfamiliar contexts? If you write a beautifully worded, textbook perfect definition of a CLI, but you totally fail to link it to the specific business or user scenario in the prompt, the examiner literally cannot give you the marks. It's heartbreaking, but it happens every year.
All right, let's put this to the test right now with an interactive speed challenge. I want you to take a hard look at the sample CLI response on the screen. Read it carefully. I'm putting 30 seconds on the clock mentally for you. Did you spot the flaw? The sentence sounds highly technical, doesn't it? It uses all the right jargon. But based on the warnings we just discussed, it's missing the absolute most critical element, context. It describes the CLI process perfectly, but completely fails to apply to the scenario's specific data points. The examiner reads this and thinks, okay, this candidate memorized a textbook, but they can't actually solve the problem in front of them. You must always anchor your technical explanations directly to the data provided in the question. That is how you unlock the grade.
Finally, Section 5, Mastering Critical Analysis. This is where we hit those higher-order objectives.
There are essentially 3 levels to answering a CLI question, and you can see them mapped out here. Level 1 is descriptive. This is just identifying what a CLI does. A CLI uses text commands.
Okay, great, but that's very basic. Level 2 is analytical. This is breaking down how the CLI is operating within the specific scenario. But level 3, the evaluative level, my friends, that is the holy grail. Higher order assessment objectives absolutely demand the evaluation of alternatives, the comparison of approaches, and fiercely justified recommendations. At this level, you aren't just saying a CLI is being used, you are actively evaluating why it's significantly better or worse than a graphical interface in this specific unique instance. You're comparing the processing speed versus the steep learning curve for the user, and you are making a hard, justified recommendation based on solid evidence.
So what does top-tier evaluative evidence quality actually look like to an examiner sitting with a red pen? It requires 4 highly specific actions. First, identifying limitations. What are the actual real-world drawbacks of using a CLI in this scenario? Is the staff untrained? Second, uncovering assumptions made in the scenario text. Are they assuming the system won't crash? Third, providing alternative interpretations. Could this problem actually be solved more efficiently with a different interface? And fourth, measuring exactly how these factors affect the final conclusions. Top-scoring candidates demonstrate this evaluative thinking by rigorously questioning the scenario itself, considering wildly different technical perspectives, and constantly backing up their decisions with concrete syllabus-approved evidence.
Now, I totally get it. This is a massive amount of systematic processing to remember, especially when you're under the intense pressure of an exam hall. So here's a really powerful memory hack for you. Use a visual story method to encode these CLI concepts and that 5-step procedural framework we talked about. Break up the dry, boring technical jargon by imagining a narrative in your head. Picture yourself as a lead detective on a case. First, you arrive and deconstruct the crime scene. That's the question. Then you carefully extract the clues. That's the data. You select your forensic tools, your analytical framework. You execute your lab tests, clear notation. And finally, you present your airtight case to the judge, correct terminology. Turning abstract frameworks into vivid visual stories makes them stick in your brain like glue, ensuring you do not panic and forget your methodology when that exam clock is ticking down.
Having all this knowledge without actual application is just trivia. So, how will you apply this 5-step framework to your next ClayPass paper? Students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCS to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @acetheexams_IGCS and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here.